What I'm trying to say is that if I can change,
Я думаю, что каждый тоже изменился
and
сегодня.
you can change,
Вы можете измениться.
everybody can change.
Rocky IV. This movie was released and set in the year I was born, 1985. And it doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the Rocky films so much, as it is a big barrel of Cold War propaganda, as far as I can see. The movie starts with American and Russian painted metal glove ornament, and they're both colliding with each other and exploding. Okay. They do another opening recap of the last film fight. Rocky Jr. is like 7 to 10 or something in this. He's annoying. There's a ridiculous frigging robot, which I remember more from Family Guy than from the actual movies. And now I've seen it again, it's just awful. Like, they didn't even have robotics in those ages, they just had pretend robotics and people on Tomorrow's World thinking, this will be the future, man, they're around now, they're definitely, you can get one for your kitchen, it'll do the dishes. Like, no, they don't exist. You stop trying to make it be a thing when it's not a thing in 1985. It's Paulie's birthday and he's got a birthday cake, and the picture of Paulie on his birthday cake is obscene. You should just see it. I don't know who it reminds me of someone, I don't know who it reminds me of, but Rocky here is dressed up as something, I don't know what. It's like a cross between wearing a kimono and the outfit of a 1700s soldier. I don't know what that is. Adrian's hell of a beautiful at the start of this movie, and her voice is smoother. What happened? I don't know, she looks way different than she does in the previous movies. Apollo's watching like an old CRT TV in colour, outdoors at the height of summer from his swimming pool, and I don't know how he's doing that and still seeing the image on the screen. At one point, like, Rocky's kid is playing with the robot in the driveway, and there's a cool car in the background, but the juxtaposition of that with a really fake robot is so wrong. They start talking about Russian doping in sports.
There have been rumors of blood doping and widespread distribution of anabolic steroids in the Soviet Union. Has Drago partaken in any such experiments?
In 1985, and I'm just like, that argument has been going on my entire life. So they're all gathered at a dinner table in Apollo's house, I think. I think it's Apollo's house. And Apollo's talking about he wants to have the fight against the Russian after seeing him on TV. And I think Rocky's like, no, don't do it. And he's like, Adrian says, what is worth you getting hurt for? And soft rock music plays and Apollo glances behind him and the robot kind of rolls into the doorway like they're in love. Apollo Creed will do absolutely anything for Bug Eyes the robot. At this point, like, Apollo and Rocky are like sitting in the dark on a sofa watching their old fights together, and they have such a great friendship at this point. It's great. He's like, Apollo, we get too old to do this, why are we doing this anymore? And Apollo's like, you can forget about all this money and stuff you got all around you, man, because it don't change a thing. But then they proceed to not do the intense training thing. Like, you thought they would have learned by now. Alright! So Apollo's gonna fight the Russian guy, and he's got civilized like they said they shouldn't do in the previous few movies, and they've both got really lax and are not putting any effort in. Despite all that stuff that happened in Rocky 3. I don't understand. It's like every episode of 24. Should we trust Jack Bauer? I don't think we should trust Jack Bauer. We can't trust Jack Bauer. And then they all end up trusting him by the end of the series. Then it goes back to the next series, the start of the next series. Can we trust Jack Bauer? Maybe we should trust Jack Bauer now. Yeah. Have you forgotten what happened during the last iteration of your series? At one point Apollo goes, hard as nails! And Rocky's like, hard ass snails? James Brown shows up at the start of the fight. Apollo's just like really poncy, and he's turned the entire beginning of the fight with the Russian into like American patriotism supreme, and you got James Brown there, and everyone's like Russophobia, and they're like, let's show this guy a dose of our culture.
From referee Lou Filippo.
Rabbit punches.
All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man. You need an interpreter? It's time to go to school.
You will lose.
It's just such a frivolous display of Ponzi patriotism, like glitter and American flags and everything, and the Russians just like, what is all this? And so Dolph Lundgren, is he American? No. Where the fuck is Dolph Lundgren from? Anyway, I don't think he's Russian, and he's playing Ivan Drago, the Russian boxer, and they're in the ring about to start the fight with him and Apollo Creed, and he's like, you will lose. I'm like, are we sure he's not a stereotypical World War II German Aryan?
I must break you. If he dies, he dies.
There's a bit just before the match, actually, where they're like plugging all these really strange, unbelievable old computers. I mean, unbelievable in the sense that I don't believe in them. They're plugging them into the Russian Ivan Drago and going, look, our special computers measure the biological makeup of a boxer.
My husband and I thank you for coming to our training quarter today. The advances our country's made in the technology.
1800. Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Now he will punch, and his punch has been measured as being greater than any man's punch in the world. And like, so they're in the match, he's fighting Apollo. And it's like, did someone put a rock in his boxing glove or something? Because he punches Apollo and he's bleeding after the first round.
I've never seen Apollo take so much punishment.
So is it classified as a murder if a boxing match is held and you know they're going to get hurt and one of the competitors dies from boxing? Punching can kill people, so does someone get the blame and go to jail? Because they all knew they were going to go into a boxing match. Anyway, Apollo dies from boxing Ivan Drago, and Rocky's back in his FBI detective style funeral outfit. They hold a press conference with Ivan Drago, and the unbeatable Ivan Drago and his wife goes, I'm afraid for my husband's life, so we'll go back to Russia. There's like this Russian general character who I think might be like Ivan Drago's version of a coach in this film, and he's written so overblown, like a supervillain. It's ridiculous. It makes the scriptwriters seem like idiots, although I know the scriptwriter in this case is Sylvester Stallone. I'm not quite sure what exactly he thought about Russia during that time period. I know there's bad stuff going on, but also I can see a lot of the human side of Russians, unlike most people. So it's the way they write this guy is just so terrible. The press at Rocky's home are annoying as ever. They like surround Adrian's car with microphones and cameras, like paparazzi. There's a lot of cheesy pop music kind of montages in this film, and there's like a cheesy rock/dreaming and driving montage, and it's a montage to past films, and even the little sexist forced scene from the first film between him and Adrian has made it into the montage. Gah. And it goes on forever. I was like, how long is this montage? Did you forget to make new footage? So you just use tons of the old movies to fill in the gaps. So Rocky's been invited to the fight in Russia, and he's taken up Ivan Drago on the offer. And was it actually filmed in Russia, I thought, when I was watching it? Because there was a plane like with a Russian symbol on it, and there was a car, and like one location that was a bit snowy, and I thought, have they faked this? How many of these people in this movie portraying Russians are actually Russian? Turns out not a lot. I Wikipedia'd it while I was watching it. It said Wyoming doubled for the frozen expanse of the Soviet Union. Are any of the actors in this Russian? The whole film seems like anti-Russian Cold War propaganda. I'm not at all surprised that the Russians didn't let him film it, like in Moscow. So Rocky goes out to this kind of hut in the ice in Wyoming, and he does this rock training montage thing, 80s music training, and I can't not think of the one from the Family Guy. I think it's the Star Wars one. Is it Blue Harvest or is it the next one along? Yeah, it's the Empire Strikes Back Family Guy special thing.
You know, I'm up for this, but kind of feels like the dark side has a better gym than us.
They just put this entire Rocky IV training scene into the, you know, Luke Skywalker, Dagobah, Yoda training scene and mix the two. And I can't not blend them in my mind now. And Rocky's got a beard here. It seems like a filmic cliche that a person goes to live in a snowy place and they end up with a massive beard instantaneously. He looks quite Carl Catan there, actually. For lack of the Philadelphia steps, Rocky ends his training montage just climbing up this snowy mountain that's meant to be in Russia. But isn't, and it looks pretty dangerous actually to run up because it's all covered in ice, and one slip and it's all over for Rocky. They get to the boxing ring and it's all meant to be very dark and Russian, and I love that old kind of Soviet submarine music, that operatic thing. I can never remember the name of the piece of music. They play it in a lot of Cold War movies. I love the sound of that. Probably in Hunt for Red October as well. They play that. There are loads of Soviet posters of Stalin and Lenin, you know, the cult of personality thing. It's funny, there's a bunch of like there's like 2 American commentators, I believe, invited to the match down by ringside, and they're like, it's unbelievable, I've never seen such a hostile crowd. And you just know that all the people who are meant to be Russians in the audience are actually 80s American extras, and they're like playing people they dislike out of fear, and it's like, seriously, Stallone, what the fuck? You should have set this in Russia so you could actually moderate the script to have compassion. If you had actual Russian extras and Russian actors acting in your film about Russia, it would force you to actually write the script not to have them say things that would like make it seem like the script was mocking them in their country. I mean, it was in the Cold War, so it was expected, but just doing that kind of forcibly kind of distances the two countries further. So in this match, being tall as a boxer must have its advantages. Drago has more reach than Rocky in the fight.
He can't seem to touch the Russian.
He could just like hold Rocky at arm's length while he kind of punches him. At one point, Drago's villainous Russian trainer guy, who we're all meant to hate, he kind of like picks him up and chucks him away. I thought that was a good move. I actually kind of have a soft spot for Drago, especially after that bit. I mean, he killed Apollo, yeah, but he was doing his job. He was doing everything he was told to do. And Apollo died from the boxing, you know, that was going to happen anyway. I mean, he was there to punch Apollo, and yeah, it's kind of like, and everyone hates him just for being Russian during the Cold War. I kind of, yeah, even though he's meant to be this villainous, horrible character, I can't really see him as that. I see the Mr. T character as a bit more horrible than that, because he's just like all-out aggression. An appreciated but unlikely plot twist at that point in the movie, just at the end of the fight, would be that somehow Rocky and Drago reconcile and become kind of friends and talk it out and stuff. But I don't think that was ever going to happen. But yeah, that was quite a weak episode in the Rocky franchise. Rocky 3, after that point, was fast becoming my favourite of the Rocky movies.
You're gonna kill